Okay, AIT. AIT is still TRADOC, but your AIT is going to be your specialty school. Cooks, infantry, but infantry and your basic training and AIT are rolled together, so it doesn't really matter. Medics, intelligence, engineer, whatever, what have you. This is where you're going to learn your craft. Depending on what MOS you are, that's going to determine what post you go to. I'm in intelligence. I didn't even go to an Army post for AIT. I went to Goodfellow Air Force Base. The Air Force is notorious for better living standards than all the other services. That's just how it is. They live better than we do. So that part of AIT was actually pretty cool. My barracks room was basically an apartment building. It was a small room, but I mean, he had a decently comfy bed. We actually got brand new beds like halfway through mine because they felt the beds weren't good enough. So we got nice soft new beds. You had a little nightstand, bed, other bed, credenzas. You could put your civvy clothes in there, and we'll talk about that in a second. They had like a little lock up here or thing, so you can put food or whatever the hell you wanted to in there. You had your wall locker where you keep all your uniforms and stuff. A bathroom and like a sink. The bathroom was adjoined to the room, like the suite was basically like it would come out on both sides of the building, and half of it would be one room, half of it would be another, and they shared the bathroom. Other AITs, some of them I know, you still sleep in like the 60-man squad bays. Some of them, it's just cinder block rooms with a bed and like, a drop ceiling and a wall locker and nothing else in it. It all depends on where you go. If you go to Goodfellow, that's what you're gonna, get. You're gonna get a pretty decent room. Anywhere else, I honestly couldn't tell you. You'd have to ask somebody who went to that AIT because I honestly don't know. Now AIT, you're gonna learn your trade basically. All that running around, crazy basic training shit, chucking the grenades and firing the weapons and all that shit. That's all done. You're not gonna do that there. There's little to none basic soldier tasks in AIT. It's pretty much exclusively your MOS training. That's it. For us, you wake up, PT, go back to your room, hygiene, eat, go to class, go to lunch, go back to class, final formation, go home. That's all you did all day. I have a long AIT, I had a long one, so we had to requalify with our rifles. We had to take another PT test. You're going to have to take PT tests in AIT, so be prepared for that. Don't slack. And we had an FTX, so we were out in the field again for another week, and we had an STX, which is situational training exercise, and that tested our, skills that we learned in the schoolhouse. We also had something what was called phasing. Depending on your AIT, I know some of the Army AITs do have it, especially the long ones. I know for a fact EOD has it because, they're 40 weeks long. That's a really long AIT. Mine was 28, 29 weeks, something like that. 68 Whiskeys, the combat medics, they have a pretty long one. Some of the laboratory guys have long AITs too. One guy I knew was 52 weeks. Linguist, stuff like that. It's a long time, so they're not going to be like, you have to stay in uniform this entire time. To phase for us, you had a PT test, soldiers create an Army song, and as long as your sergeant was okay with that, you pass, you're phased. And phasing, you can wear civvies again. You don't have to be in PTs or ACUs all the time. You could smoke if you're a smoker. You could drink if you're a drinker. You could dip if you're a dipper. You could finally go off post because up until that point you're not allowed to go off post. It's just not allowed. Technically we weren't allowed to have any electronic equipment but our cell phones. When I was phase 4, I had my laptop. I bought a TV from the guy that was moving out as I moved into that room. Wasn't supposed to have that. That's not exactly enforced. At least it wasn't for us. I'm not sure. It depends on really your commander and your platoon sergeant and all that. But ours, I had all that shit when I was phase 4, and you know, it wasn't enforced. I never got in civvies, and I never um, went off post, because if you get caught doing that shit, I mean, even if you pass your PT test and all that other crap, they won't phase you. Just punishment. Um, but yeah, I mean, you're finally in civvies again. You know, you can go out and have a beer. It's great. You know, there's still some restrictions, like you can only go like 50 miles, you know, in any direction away from the post. You can't go any farther than that without a pass. Um, you know, you still have room inspections, so make sure your shit is clean. Don't keep any alcohol or any crap like that in your fridge, because that's a no-go. Don't do that. You know, make sure you keep your civvies and your uniforms separated. You know, if you have tile floor, mop that shit. If you have carpet, vacuum it. You know, because especially with my squad leader, he was a douchebag, and he loved to fail people on room inspections. That way he could take away your phasing for the weekend, or if you were putting in a pass, he would deny it. I mean, he was an asshole. You're going to get guys like that. So make sure your shit is straight, and they won't have any reason to give you shit. Okay. That's the number one thing, really, in AIT you got to worry about. Okay. I mean, if you're a pretty good PT guy, you don't really have to worry about PT that much. You know, just make sure your shit is clean, and you're good. Really, I mean, that's all it is. You know, do good in school, don't fail your tests, you know, and you'll be fine. AIT is really a piece of cake. But I mean, if you're like me and you're not a big PT guy, you know, I mean, I like to do PT. You know, I go to the gym after work usually during the week, or you know, or on the weekend, whatever. You know, I broke my foot, so you know, now I go to the gym every morning for PT, which is great. You know, I lift weights, get stronger. But in AIT, I mean, there's gyms there. Use them. You know, you're not busy in AIT. You are not. Okay, you have no additional responsibilities whatsoever. You go to class, and that's it. That's all you do. Real Army is a lot more busy than that. Okay, so make sure you're not. You know, take advantage of the time that you got in AIT, because once you get to the Real Army, a lot of that free time that you have, you know, getting out at like 16:30 or whatever, you know, it's not gonna happen like that in the Real Army. Okay, so make sure you take advantage of that. If you know you need to, you know, work on your PT to pass, then fucking work on it. You got plenty of time. Okay, you get released at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You don't have to be back at PT for like, you know, until like 5:30 the next day. So you got time. Don't think you're busy, because you're not. But I mean, really, AIT is pretty much a piece of cake. You know, you made it through basic training. That's the hard part. I mean, if you were smart enough to score whatever you scored on your ASVAB to get the job that you're in, you should be able to pass the schoolhouse. So, you know, everything in the Army is dumbed down to the dumbest level. It really is. So if, you know, you're having trouble, all you gotta do is study a little bit or whatever, and you'll be okay. The next video, I'm going to cover basically what Real Army life is sort of like. It really depends on your unit, but I'll give it to you from my perspective. And again, if you have any questions, just shoot me an email or just comment on here. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.